Okay, I just wanted to do this short video about the things that I've learned over the last 5 years of teaching dance online. Solely because I've seen a lot of stuff online where people are craving that human connection in class and the one that they're not getting online. Basically, they're comparing the loss of what we had and thinking, oh, this is not the same. So it kind of started me thinking, actually just share some of the things that I've discovered, as I say, through teaching on dance online for the last 5 years. So that would be my number one thing, is try not to compare what you had with what you're receiving. So not that idea of competing experiences. I always use the analogy of it's like if you have an MP3, a music file that you listen to on your headset, you're never going to compare that with a live concert. We just don't do that. That's something we don't do. It's because they're different interpretations of music, where what we're doing now with digital, are different interpretations of movement, different interpretations of dance. I mean, there's so many things that you can do with digital. It's like you can reach thousands and millions of people from your lounge or from your studio, wherever you're creating content or sharing it with the world. With a live gig, you're there and you're enjoying that experience with the people around you, and the music is different, the atmosphere is different. But I don't know people that compare the same thing. Yes, we say, oh, that artist sounds exactly the same when you're hearing them live as they do on an MP3. That's obviously subjective, but sometimes you've got to kind of embrace the new, remember what we had, and eventually we'll come back to that. But it's about how we now integrate these new ways for a lot of people, of how we create new ways and new ideas, and look at what we can get back once we, I suppose, can gather again and be around each other, sharing the same space and sharing the atmosphere in the studio. So try not to allow the sorrow and the loss of what we had to block what you're going to receive, or what you can receive, what you can create. So be positive about the new things that are on the horizon, that you will create, and then also things that you'll learn from other people. So that's my number one tip. So tip number two. A lot of people out there are kind of saying, oh, the sound is terrible when you were using, X platform. I don't want to say the platforms, I'm not here promoting them, but whatever platform you're using, saying, oh, the sound's terrible, we can't hear my voice. So the critical thing here is that the sound isn't terrible, it's how you input the sound so your people that you're teaching can hear it. So you need a thing called an audio interface and a wireless mic. So what that allows you to do is to be 5 meters away from your microphone on your computer, and also mix it with the sound that you're playing. So as we naturally do when we're in class, we count, we shout over the music, we talk over the music. But you don't have that privilege when you're teaching online. So you need to mix that music and your voice before it goes into your computer. So we have a thing called a MIDI interface, which goes into your MP3 slot. And I'll post a couple of links of the equipment that I use, that I've been using, that allows me to mix the music. So I just use at the moment my iPhone that goes into the mixer. I then do the levels, so the music is the right level, and when my voice comes in with my wireless mic, it then comes over the music. So like when you're teaching fitness, you sometimes have the music on loud and then you shouting out the instructions. So when you're in class, yes, we do that. We stop the music, we explain it, we start to explain it. But actually, if you're wanting to correct people as they're moving along, as the class is moving along, you want to be able to keep the music playing, but also correct people as you're watching them on the screen. So that's really a tip for getting music into the computer and allowing people to experience it at the same time. Well, there'll be a little bit of a lag behind, but I'm going to get onto that a bit later. Okay, so tip number 3. Again, I'm seeing feedback where people are saying, oh, there's a delay in the music, there's a delay in the movement. Yes, there is. And at this current time, that's kind of impossible to reduce. Just like there's a slight delay on long distance calls, even though your server or you might be just down the road or in the same state or in the same city as somebody, there's always going to be this lag. On some of the platforms where you've got less users and there's less users for people to kind of cram into the bandwidth that organization or that platform that you're using owns. So there is going to be a lag, and I'd also just say then you've kind of just got to get used to it and get over it. As long as your voice and your music is leaving your space at the same time, they'll receive the music and your voice at the same time if you're mixing them before they go into the computer. So yes, you might do a movement and a split second or half a second later they do the movement. That's something you'll get used to. You'll get used to it once you've been teaching online for a bit. It's a bit unnerving. Sometimes, you're going down, they're coming up, and you have this seesaw effect, but it's absolutely fine. Just know that they are doing the right thing. Tip number 4. So again, this is about musicality. If you're really concerned with the musicality on the phrasing, especially when the music is so tied to the movement, for example, traditional dance, traditional African dance, where the music is so interconnected with the movement. Yes, in lots of other styles it is, but there's minute, and the musicality within African dance means that there's minute detail within the movement and how the music comes together. So what you can do is you can give that information through the method that I've said, with the voice and the music mixed. And if that's obviously live music, you need to mic that up to go into the mixer, then that goes at the same time. So what you need to do is to have your students and your people record themselves, so you're getting the full version of them doing it to the music when they receive it. So you're able to then correct over online after and just say, look, this is a slight difference in the timing, that you should probably be putting the accent there, or this is something what you should be looking at in more detail. So you're able to see what they're doing in one place rather than you trying to interpret it with the delay. So just take that part out of it and you'll be fine. Tip number 5. So you can, to help that delay, is screen share. So if you upload an MP3 or an MP4, some of the platforms allow you to do this, or a video from YouTube, they allow you to put YouTube videos on your screen share. So if you put them on your screen share and they're on your video, you're kind of hearing them at the same time. Again, there'll be a slight delay, but just so rest assured the quality is better. And again, these are all things that I've done, and if you don't get the same results, just send me a message and I'll help you out. Actually, this is a new territory for a lot of people, and I'm always willing to help, because this is a new area. I've been working in this area for a while, and it's great that so many other people are now entering this space, and a lot of people's focus has been over there, but hopefully now people are looking in the same direction for solutions and accepting how this works. So anyway, going back to uploading your material on to screen share. So you can screen share that information, and that allows the person that's receiving it to get it more or less at the same time as you. Also adds to a better sound quality. So yeah, that's just another thing, tip number 5, that you can do to help with the lag and help with the music. Tip number 6. So there's going to be this idea of clambering for space and clambering for people's eyes, clambering for ears and everything. There's going to be so many people putting videos out there, do my class, do this, do this, do this, do this. However, if you've got a group of people that you genuinely connect with, or your styles are similar, and you've got something to offer each other, that you respect each other's work, create an online studio. So you're working together. It's better to have 5 or 6 people directing people to one source, where in that studio, in that building where you have the real estate, you're able to say, oh, this is my class, this is my class, this is my class. So collectively you're promoting the one thing, but when within that one thing you have your classes and you have your things. It's like if you imagine as a dancer, as a performer, as an artist, an actor, if everybody had their own building in the real world, that'd be like, okay, this is my building, you're going to come here and do my classes, rather than, you know, we have things like the Actors Centre in London or Pineapple or Danceworks, where they are studios, but they're facilitated, they have the real estate where people are able to come and do their class, rather than everybody trying to own their own building or their own studio and have their own classes there. Bring it together, because some people are brilliant at teaching but really bad at promoting, and some the other way around. Some people are great at owning the real estate and promoting that, and having people come to share their genius and brilliance as a teacher, rather than thinking the teacher has to do the class, promote the studio, all those things. So you can do those things if you come together collectively, because then you start to learn from each other's mistakes and successes. And there will be some mistakes, don't, you know, no two ways about it. You'll make mistakes, but actually that's the beauty of any mistake. You learn, you still learn, it's still part of the learning process. So come together with groups of friends, groups of people, groups that have got similar ideas and styles that you think you can disseminate throughout one channel. So tip number 7. There's a software out there called OBS, and it allows you to live stream to several channels at the same time, and it also allows you to use different sources, again, for your music and for your voice. I'm not going to go into too much about the technical of how you set it up. There's loads of YouTube videos already put out there by the company that allows you to get up to speed. So it's OBS. If you look out for it, type it in Google, you'll find it. Look at the YouTube videos and it will tell you how to do what you need to do. And again, if you're really, really stuck, contact me and I'll try and help you. But really try and have that idea of looking first, doing the research for yourself and then sharing it with other people. There's lots of times where I've been on some forums, Facebook pages or whatever, and it's like, how do you do blah 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 blah, and literally I'll go to Google, I'll go to YouTube, type exactly the same question, and I get a stack of videos or links where I'm finding out the information that that person is obviously too busy or just too lazy or just doesn't have the initiative to go and search for themselves. They just want people to bring them the information. That works, that's cool, but actually learn for yourself as well, to equip yourself so you can then share the information with other people. So you're not just going, oh, help me. Be proactive in your education, in how you learn. So tip number 7. So here we go, tip number 8. I've been going on about this kind of idea of growing your audience online for quite a few years. People are distracted by turning up in exchange for their time to get paid, especially as dancers and especially as performing artists. We have to be in a place, we have to teach our workshop, we have to perform in order to get paid. We don't necessarily think of digital products, whereas musicians, they're always thinking of digital products as well as being in the physical space. So this is the thing why I use the MP3 and the live, because they have both things going on. As performers, as dancers, as actors, we don't necessarily have those digital products. So it's about building your online audience through digital products. And I know a lot of people say, well, I'm an artist, I don't make products. It's like, well, if you're trying to get a show on the road, it's called a production for some reason. There's a clue there in the word. So it's really about creating online classes, creating online content. And don't be fooled by thinking, oh, actually, I'm going to save some of my best stuff for the classes. Actually, you want to put your best stuff out there in order to attract people to what you're doing. So the mentality is, if you're sharing this amazing stuff, because I'm sure lots of you have got amazing stuff, you're sharing some amazing stuff just to get people to understand who you are and what you do. And then there's this thing of, once they kind of connect with you, yes, then you can offer more amazing stuff if you're creating this online audience. Sometimes they'll pay for it, sometimes it'll be free, but I guarantee offer some amazing stuff that's free, because people will respect you more for it, and their mentality is thinking, if this is free, imagine what I'm going to get if I sign up. But obviously you as an artist, you as a creative, have got to make sure that you're bringing value to your audience. So this is the thing about creating the online, offline audience. So when you go back to the studio, you're in a better place than where you were when you started it. Yes, your classes and people will hopefully come back to your classes, but actually you've built this online audience where actually this is my class live on a Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. You know what? I'm just going to put my webcam at the back, or I'm going to put my, the Facebook Live and the channel that you've built up and the people that you've built up over that time. You're reaching thousands of people, not just the 25 in the studio. Like I say, I've been going on about this for years, and a lot of people have been like, I prefer the real thing. Great. You have the real thing, but you also have the online thing. Don't knock it. These are golden opportunities. And there's this quote that goes, you have to take the opportunity of a lifetime in the lifetime of the opportunity. So do what you need to do. If it's cool, if you don't agree and it's like you've got to go back to the studio, you want to wait until we can get back to the studio, that's fine. But people out there that want to expand, that want to grow, that want to take this time to grow their audience and grow the people around the world that can help them get their work out there, not just teaching, but also performing. Tip number 9. Share what you know. Again, there's a quote by Dalai Lama, and it goes, if you share your knowledge, it's a way to become immortal. Now, a lot of creatives, a lot of artists, particularly dancers, I know a lot of people, it's like, no, this idea is mine, I'm not sharing it. It's almost like if they give that idea away or share that idea, it's going to take away their superpower, and that person that has shared it to is going to take all their work, and before you know it, they're going to die with no money. A lot of dancers die with no money anyway. So what have you got to lose? The thing is, what I'm saying is, if you share these ideas and you share your ideas, nothing that is that new these days. Not many things are original. If you do your research, you'll find that somebody else has done it before. The thing that makes the spell, that makes the magic, is you as an artist, and not thinking, well, if that person does it, they're going to do it like me. Because the beauty of sharing something that's a creative exercise is that once you share it, you can share it with 10 different people, and they'll give you 10 different interpretations of that idea. So don't be afraid about sharing what you know, because you're going to inspire somebody to make something else built from that. And if they copy it, fine. They're in need of it more. And this idea of like, I'm going to keep my ideas, because that's also a reflection of your limited belief about yourself, where these are my ideas. There's a finite amount of ideas out there, and there's a finite amount of ideas that I can generate. When actually, as a creative, as an artist, it's abundance that you should be focusing on, because there is an abundance of ideas out there. There's an abundance of energy that you pick up from, that people have had and that have shared, and you've created your idea from that. So really think about how you can inspire other people. And when you see those iterations of those ideas that you've shared, then you get 10 new ideas from those 10 people that you've shared the ideas with. So yes, have your core and your belief of what you stand for, but we all think that we're so special that actually nobody else has ever thought of this before. And sometimes they won't, but actually sharing something is not about thinking that, oh, I'm the only person in the world that is ever going to have this idea. Share it. You'll be amazed at what the return is. When you that idea of sharing and nourishing the universe, then the universe nourishes you right back. If you believe that or not, it's fine. But I've learned from experience that sharing it, you'll get it back tenfold. Okay, tip number 10. So there's this idea that, if you go online, if you create a class, if you create a webinar, a podcast, whatever, you've got to be an expert. Try and get that out of your head. It's about you telling your story, because you're always going to know a little bit more than somebody else. And that's the point. If you can inspire somebody to get to that point, then great. Get to the point where you're at, then fantastic, because your objective for yourself is to continually grow. It's to look at the people that inspire you. So you're being inspired by the people that inspire you, but you're then also inspiring the people from the inspiration that you've learned, if you see what I mean. So there's this thing of each one teach one. And that's the thing of being able to share what you know and not necessarily think that you have to be an expert at everything. Invite experts on to talk to that are better than you, that are more connected than you, that have done the things that you want to do. Follow them. Look at what they've done. There's a great quote by a guy called Tony Robbins, and he has this quote saying, "Success leaves clues." It's not that we need more information online, it's the fact that we need more implementation, because people take the knowledge or understand the knowledge and do absolutely nothing with it. So if you're looking for, just replicate things that people have done that you want to do, or look in other industries. This is a key thing actually. A lot of the time when we look around dance and when we look around the arts, you'll never find the answers that you want to expand. You have to look in other industries and other places where it's going to feed you, it's going to nourish you, it's going to bring a new idea to the perspective and the work that you do. A lot of the time the arts is very insular, and the way that it progresses is very slow, because we've inherited this kind of, especially with the funding system, we've inherited this system that it was broken before COVID-19 came, but it's actually destroyed now. You've got to find new ways of doing the things that you want to do and distributing the work that you want to distribute. So really be mindful that your expertise is going to inspire somebody else. You don't have to be an expert and think, I need to be an expert like the person I'm following. But actually, the fact that that person is you're following that person, just share it with the other people, because there's always going to be people out there. And it's about getting the information out there, because they say knowledge is power. I don't necessarily agree with that. Knowledge is only potential power, because it depends what you do with that power that makes it powerful. Because I could have all the information that I know or would like to receive from the millions and millions of websites. If I do nothing with it, what's the point of having that information? So knowledge isn't necessarily power. It's what you do with it and how you implement it. This is the thing about where we are now. It's implementation, implementation, implementation. So go out there, implement, connect. Make sure you're connecting the world to you. Put your flag up there and say, this is what I am, this is what I do. If you're interested, come speak to me, let's share. Whereas traditionally, if you go to a theatre or a dance studio to say, oh, this is what I do, there's this subjective opinion about you as a person and the work that you do, where it's like, yeah, I don't like that person, I don't like that work. I'm going to put somebody else on that I've put on for the past 5 years, but I know that they'll sell, or they'll sell tickets. Whereas you as an artist now should be thinking about, okay, that doesn't work for you, that doesn't work for you as a promoter. Who does it work for? Choose yourself rather than waiting to be picked, because the people, that old system, it was old even before COVID, but people just weren't jumping on the ability to reach the world, especially as dancers, as actors, what we can do digitally. So even though they're going to reject you, find the people that are going to welcome you, because you run the thing now. You're in control. You've always been in control, but it's whether you've known that you've been in control and been able to look and change your focus of where you're building your audience. So I know that's a long tip. Hopefully you've got some value out of this. If you need any help with any of the things that I've said, any of the things that I've talked about, just hit me up in the email below. See ya.